The first results of CNN's instant poll are in. Let's get right to CNN's bureau chief and political director, David Chalian. David, how did the voters that you snap polled feel about the speech?
Well, first, I just want to mention, Jake, this is a poll of speech watchers, not a poll that is representative of the country overall or what an electorate and election looks like. And what we know is that people who tend to be fans or partisans with the president, no matter which party the president is in, tend to tune in more on speeches like this. And that's the case in tonight's survey as well, because we were 21% Democrat, 44% Republican in this sample, 35% independent. That's about 14 points more Republican than the overall general population. So keep that in mind when you see these results of speech watchers. To the results, what was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative. How does that stack up against Donald Trump's previous addresses to joint sessions of Congress or State of the Union addresses? Look here, for all the years we have data for, 44% very positive reaction is actually his low water mark in all our instant polls after his previous addresses. You see in 2019, 18, and 17, he was higher in terms of very positive speech reaction. And what about to his modern day predecessors? How does this 44% very positive stack up? Again, it's the bottom of the barrel here. 51% in 2021 when Joe Biden gave his first joint address were very positive. Donald Trump himself was at 57% in 2017. And you see that Bush and Obama even higher than that. So this was not Donald Trump's best speech, but obviously still the plurality of speech watchers had a very positive reaction to it, Jake.
All right, David Chalian, thanks so much. John King.
Federal bureaucracy. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy. It bugged you in a particular way. How come?
Well, I think for myself, being a presidential management fellow, this is a 100%, merit-based program. People coming in are taking jobs that have lesser pay. They want to serve the American public. And for you to, blanket statements saying the entire bureaucracy is untamed and, doesn't have any tethering to anything. I mean, look at us. We're everyday average Americans that just want to serve the American public, and we're not allowed to do that.
And you said a large portion of your time was actually responding to congressional inquiries about whether or not the money was being spent appropriately in the case of the Housing and Urban Development Department.
Absolutely. We were responding to over 4,000 inquiries. And keep in mind, these are people we're working with congressional staffers saying, hey, how can we support you? Hey, how can we offer assistance to make sure your grantees, the people on the ground, are getting the funding that they need?
And just to reiterate, so what you're saying is the Trump administration canceled the Presidential Management Fellows program. He talked about DEI, but this was a merit-based program.
When we're in the application process, we're not allowed to give any identifying information. It is 100% merit-based.
All right, Catherine, let's talk about the U.S. Forest Service. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only time we heard anything about public lands was when President Trump renamed a national wildlife refuge in Texas to honor the victim of a killing by an undocumented immigrant. We didn't hear anything about federal lands otherwise, did we?
No, despite the fact that over 350 protests and rallies took place at national parks and national forest offices this past Saturday, and thousands of people attended to speak out for our public lands and for the people who serve them. I'm shocked that nothing came of that. And in addition, an executive order was signed that same day on Saturday that opened up our public lands to unsustainable timber harvesting.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that it didn't seem like wildlands, the land management agencies were even on the radar of the president in this speech at all.
No, I would absolutely agree with that.
Nigella, let's talk about you were at the U.S. Digital Service, the precursor to DOJ, but one of your main focuses was on making the immigration system, including the enforcement system, more efficient. And the president touted all these accomplishments that he said were accomplishments about immigration, about deportations, closing the border. The part that I watched you react to most strongly was when he said, the media and our friends in the Democrat Party keep saying we need new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border, but it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Yeah.
What bugged you so much about that?
I think the demonization of immigrants in this speech today was as disappointing as it was frightening. And the thing that bothered me is it's a multifaceted approach that we need to attack the immigration problem, and it's been an issue over multiple presidents.
Which you yourself have been working on in terms of efficiency.
Definitely. Part of it are legislative fixes, but the other part are really process and tech improvements. And by getting rid of the subject matter experts that do this work for decades and the people who have the tech capabilities, and then more importantly, the trust that you build between agencies to actually align and prioritize this work is really difficult to see. You can gut something in 5 minutes, but to get the apparatus back up and running, that might take 5 years. So it was really disappointing to see some of those comments.
For a very brief moment, and Rachel referenced this earlier, you worked for DOGE because the U.S. Digital Service became DOGE. And when the president said that he has saved, I want to make sure I get this right, hundreds of billions of dollars, your reaction was you shook your head.
Yeah, I think as we've seen before, a lot of those savings that they have touted have been slowly removed as people see some of that discrepancy in the numbers. And I think it's really important for people to go back, keep checking the website, and hold DOGE accountable for the things that they are and aren't doing.